This is a key for pre-algebra exit ticket 23.2. So we're supposed to evaluate 5 times 10 to the third times 6 times 10 to the negative 8th, all divided by 2 times 10 to the negative 10th. So as always, I am going to group the coefficients. So over in this group, I'm going to have 5 times 6 divided by 2. I can group the whole thing. And then over here, I'm going to group the powers. It's going to be 10 to the third times 10 to the negative 8, all divided by 10 to the negative 10th. And of course, I can start simplifying that. Let me start simplifying that. So 5 times 6 is 30. And then I can put all of this together. So I've got 10 to the third times 10 to the negative 8th. That's going to be adding the exponents. And then that's all divided by 10 to the negative 10th. So I can actually put it all together. So that's going to be plus negative 8. And then I'm dividing by 10 to the negative 10th. So that's going to be minus negative 10. So I can just dispense with that and just put it together here. So let's copy pasta that to the next row. And 30 over 2 is just 15. And then 10 to the 3 plus negative 8 minus negative 10. So 3 minus 8 is going to be negative 11. Minus negative 10 is like plus 10. So negative 11 plus 10 is negative 1. So I've got 15 times 10 to the negative first. I've got to make 15 10 times smaller. So I've got to make 10 to the first 10 times bigger. So that's going to be 10 to the 0, which means ultimately my answer is 1.5. I'm just going to make a note, equals just 1.5 because 10 to the 0 is just 1. But putting it inside of a notation is this, and that's all you had to do. Evaluate 9 times 10 to the fourth to the second over 2.7 times 10 to the 8th. So let's group things. I'm going to have 9 squared, and that's going to be over 2.7. I'm sorry, that's not, 9 squared over 2.7. And then over here I'll have 10 to the fourth to the second. So that's 4 times 2. And that's going to be divided by 10 to the 8th. Okay. So let's start simplifying the parts. 9 to the second is 81. And over here I've got, oops, that was an error. That should be a 2. That should be a 2. I think I said 4 times 2, but my brain did something different. So 10 to the 4 times 2. I can actually start simplifying this even further. Since it's divided by 10 to the 8th, I can subtract 8 from those exponents. Okay, so let's keep cleaning it up. Okay, I'm going to scroll down a little bit so you can see what the heck I'm doing. 81 divided by 2.7 is going to be 30. And then 10 to the 4 times 2, that's 4 times 2 is 8. And then 8 minus 8 is 0. And so I put it together. I've got to make 30 10 times smaller, so 3.0. So I've got to make 10 to the 0 10 times bigger, so 10 to the first. And so that's your answer, and it happens to actually just be 30 if you were to turn it into standard notation. Okay, so now we got this one, 6 times 10 to the negative fourth to the third over 6 times 10 to the 20th, which is squared, times 6 times 10 to the negative 30th. So let's group our coefficients and group our powers. So over here, I'm going to have 6 to the third, and then that's divided by, well, that's 6 squared, because that expression is squared, and that's going to be times 6. And then over here, I've got 10 to the negative 4, but that's going to be times 3 because it's 10 to the negative 4 times 3, and that's going to be divided by, so I can just treat that as subtraction, divided by the sum of 20 and negative 30, because those are powers of 10, 20 that are being multiplied. So 20 plus negative 30. Okay, so now I'm going to start simplifying things. It's kind of convenient that all our coefficients are the same. So what I'm going to do, instead of sort out that 6 to the third is 216, I'm going to actually deal with this stuff down here. I've got 6 to the second times 6 to the first, which is going to just be 6 to the 2 plus 1, which is just 3. And now I've got 6 to the third over 6 to the third. You might just automatically realize that that's 1, but I'm going to do it like that. And so that is 6 to the 0, which is indeed 1. But I'll put that in the next row. Okay, and then I'm going to simplify over here. That's going to be negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And then in the parentheses, I've got 20 plus negative 30. That's going to be negative 10. And so now I'm going to copy that to the next row and finish simplifying it there. Okay, so now I've got 10 to the negative 12 minus negative 10. That's going to work out to negative 12 plus 10. So that's negative 2. And now I've got 6 to the 0, which is just 1. So I'm going to drop my parentheses. That's 1 times 10 to the negative second, which is the same as 1 over 100, or so equals 1 over 100, or 0.01 if you wanted to go there. Okay, but you only needed to do that. And the rest is just what questions you have for exponents and so forth. I hope that was helpful.